We are at day 3 of Adnan's PCR hearing. I was going to say the last day, but it's looking pretty clear like that's not going to happen. Unclear when we're going to reschedule or when we'll be back here, but I think it's safe to say at this point this is not the final day. We're still going through defense witnesses. We had today a pretty entertaining morning. We started off with defense investigator who went through the 86 person alibi notice that Gutierrez put out.
But 3 of the names were duplicates?
Yeah, so 3 of them were not real people. They're the same as other people on the list. So 83 possibly real people, of which he talked to 41. 4 of them had heard from the defense in some capacity. None of them had ever been contacted as an alibi witness. And that was like really kind of the whole point of the bringing the investigator on. He said, I talked to them, they never had like alibi communications. Notice here that the 8 track team members on this list have the same address, 1801 Woodlawn Avenue. Here's some records from like the county, I don't even know where, some agency that show the address for 1801. Oh, look, it's Woodlawn High School. She didn't even know their addresses. And here's a Woodlawn yearbook that shows that the 8 track team members were the 8 members listed, like the 8 top track runners, whatever you want to call them. The 8 players, that's the wrong word. I used to do track too, it's a sad thing. So the top 8 anyway, and it's not the 30 that they actually had of the team, and it's not the 8 players who were more likely to see Adnan, it was just the 8 that were in the yearbook. So the state comes back on and they're like, we're going to interrogate you about all kinds of things, about like what Gutierrez was thinking in 1999. And Justin's like, objection scope, because our direct was like here and you're like on Neptune. And judge allowed it. So that poor investigator who came in for a very limited direct was suddenly like fielding questions about Mike Lewis's trial strategy as a law clerk in 1999. So he tried to, I think he did score points, and I'm using air quotes because every time Theo's at the bench, I can't hear what they're saying, but he's always like, I have like a little tally going. But he did score points in that he misrepresented, I think, evidence, because he did misrepresent. Like he says, oh, look at this memo showing Gutierrez's attempts to contact alibi witnesses shortly before the first trial. No, it's dated December 15th. That is the last day of Adnan's first trial. And he's here telling the court that she's diligently contacting people before trial using a memo dated on the last day of trial. And then he did things like so one of the clerks summarized all of the state's interview stuff and then wrote a memo to CG about it. And one of them was Gerald Russell, the track coach, who the state talked to and said, hey, do you take rosters for track? And he's like, no. So she summarizes that. And Theo was like, oh look, internal discussion among the defense, showing concern about Adnan's track alibi. So, you know, it is what it is. And then he like misread, he managed to have the same witness from different notes be someone who was contacted, talked to the defense, and told them that Adnan was late to track that day, who also did not hear from anyone because he'd moved. And then according to the investigator, actually showed up at court when he was subpoenaed and had no idea why he was there. So like, Theo uses the same name and like spends 3 stories out about why he's relevant to the case and like uses them to damage the defense in different and contradictory ways. So that was kind of annoying, but like at the end of the day, it was all baseless, so whatever. And then we went to the defense's surprise witness, who
adorable.
She was adorable. She was the librarian from Serial, and she was, I don't know if you've heard talk or chatter about the secret witness. From Monday, we knew that there was a secret witness coming in, and I know people were getting like, I mean, Rabia was worried it was Bilal. I mean, she was like, I know I'm paranoid, but like my heart sunk when I saw Bilal's arrest. I'm like, it's different. So that was her fear. She knew it wasn't like likely, but that's what like, and I was like, Rabia, it's okay. It's really boring. So it turns out the secret witness.
Was this a surprise witness, the librarian?
What? Yeah. No. That's the defense's surprise witness. The state's surprise witness, who may or may not be called now, is who shall now be known as Useless Steve, because the librarian gets up there and says, "Oh,
you think Steve is a surprise witness?"
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So just explain that again.
So the librarian comes in. She's like, "We had cameras in '99, and here's why I remember that." And she was really. And Firu gets up there and is like, well, didn't you know that your library didn't have cameras till 2000? And she's like, well, that's not true because I was there. I manually fed them in every day. Here's why I know this. What I think happened...
Keep your voice
What
up.
I think happened is that Theru was confusing an article about Woodlawn getting external cameras, which I did later on. And he reads this as, oh, Woodlawn got cameras for the first time ever, and ignored the fact that like there's a difference between internal and external cameras in the building. So anyway, he kind of like backs away from that because he just, the state I think lost huge there because, let's see, in Aja's testimony of the day, we had, I'm on one side of the page, what am I going to do? Aja, come back. So, sorry, okay, 1 second.
No problem.
I still haven't indexed all the pages. So, okay, so we have on cross, Theru asked, you spoke to someone at the library. Who? And Aja said, whoever answered the phone. And Theru asked, would you be surprised to learn that the library only had cameras after your graduation? And she said, yes. I can only go by what they said to me, but they said that they had cameras. And he scored this whole point like, oh, Aja said she called the library and they had lying because. But this witness just proved that that was all bunk. And to me, what I think was critical is it showed that all these questions Theru keeps asking, all these, would it surprise you to learn, or did you know? That's not evidence. They're not true. These things he's throwing out are not facts he's asking about. This is like theories and like crazy ideas he's throwing out as fact and pretending that they are true.
You do have to have a good faith.
Oh, and he has basis. I mean, like he had that article saying that I'm sure that external cameras were installed later on. But like, I think that should clue the judge in that when he's making all these hints and like, you know, trying to insinuate things, that doesn't mean there's actually a truth behind it. It just means he's taken some note, spun out a story, and now has a good faith basis for talking about it.
And Useless Steve,
So Useless Steve, after the camera thing fell apart, he's like, well, was there a security guard who worked there? And she's like, well, yeah, but they were just a deterrent. And she said they were, the students called them 2.5s. And she's like, well, because, you know, the police are the 5-0. And she's like, oh, he was kind of goofy and useless, and he just kind of, you know, was there. He didn't really talk to the students. He didn't know anything. So, yeah, like going back to the secret witness thing going on, the secret witness was useless security guard Steve, who was going to say that he started work at 11 a.m. at the Woodlawn Public Library and that there were no cameras.
The secret witness.
Well, he was, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, but is he testifying?
Well, I don't know. We'll see if the state puts him on now.
So
the state was planning to put him on.
Okay. So
he was their secret weapon.
Okay, so this is your unnamed source is saying to you that
he was going to be the secret weapon for the prosecution. He was going to come on and say that there were no cameras there. Ooh, gotcha, Aja.
Right.
And then my favorite librarian of all time testifies that, well, no, they were pretty useless. They didn't know anything. There were about 100 people, students came through every day, and he would not have known if he saw one or not. And this is all relevant because the defense investigator in March did go by and talk to a security guard at the school. And the state was going to claim, oh, look, they investigated the Aja alibi and found it was wanting, and then dropped it all, and that was fine. And what she showed was that talking to useless Steve and basing an alibi conclusion on that was a huge error if that's what happened.
See you later.
See you.